Kia ora, not a very pleasant looking Wednesday out there. Heavy rainfall back in towards places like Canterbury, strong winds wrapping up the coast in towards Wellington and Wairarapa, and snowfall back about the higher parts of the Canterbury High Country. It's a very unsettled looking middle part of the week, all thanks to this area of low pressure. As that sinks further southwards, it drives that rainfall on towards the eastern coast of the South Island. Heavy rainfall warnings in place everywhere from Timaru right way up that eastern coast. Heaviest though for those northern parts of Canterbury up towards Kaikoura. We'll find some stronger winds on the other side of the hills down through parts of the western coast, and we'll find those winds increasing through Wellington and the Kaikoura coast and the Marlborough coast as we head through in towards the night time tonight. We are going to find it stays very unsettled through the night time as well. That rain feeds in towards Canterbury and Marlborough, turning to snow over the tops of the Canterbury High Country and pushing up towards Nelson, Marlborough, Wellington, Wairarapa, catching that rainfall as well, and even up towards places like Taranaki and Northland and Bear Plenty will keep hold of that rainfall through there as well. So a very unsettled looking night. Bit of an improvement through the likes of Hawke's Bay and Gisborne, and down the far south towards the likes of Fiordland. Best places to be as we go through the next few days. In terms of what's happening through the night time though, the other thing to watch out for, that cold air coming up from the south. Check out our nighttime lows back towards places like Queenstown, back to 4 degrees Celsius. A cold start to the morning tomorrow for you, but I think even places like Christchurch, with those stronger winds, those cloudier skies, it will feel pretty cold as we head through towards the early hours of Thursday. 7 degrees Celsius through there. Thursday, well, we keep hold of this very active weather system, feeding more of that wet weather towards the eastern side of the South Island. It's to start to ease away from the southern parts of Canterbury, feeding up though still towards Wellington, Wairarapa, and we'll still find a fair number of showers pushing up towards that western side of the North Island through the daytime as well. Still some snow over the tops of the Canterbury High Country, up in towards the hills of Marlborough as well. And these winds, that tightness of these isobars, those white lines, a really good indication of an incredibly windy situation around those middle parts of the country. Strong winds gusting perhaps 130 kilometres an hour in the most exposed parts of Wellington and around that Wairarapa coast. Really something to keep in mind for the night time tonight, Wednesday, but also through the daytime on Thursday. Unsurprisingly, with that very active system, we've got a whole load of severe weather watches and warnings in place. The heaviest rainfall for places like North Canterbury, north about Amberley, up in towards those Kaikoura ranges there. Another 150 to 200 millimetres of rainfall, very possible as we head through into Thursday. Also some snowfall, heavy snow warning over those higher parts of the Canterbury High Country in the south there, above about 800 metres. Also some road snowfall warnings for those higher mountain passes. Heavy rainfall, Wellington, Wairarapa, Aotearoa range. Also that rain lasting through in towards parts of particularly those eastern areas of the Bear Plenty through in towards Thursday afternoon. So some heavy rain warnings for you there. And of course, a very windy situation, especially around these central areas. Wellington, even by our standards, it's a windy looking story for Thursday, gusting 130 kilometres an hour or so around those coastal parts of Wairarapa, but generally a windy story around these central areas. We'll also find the winds increasing in a westerly direction across the likes of, say, Auckland and the Coromandel, and across in towards parts of southern Hawke's Bay and Wairarapa as we head through Thursday as well. So wherever you are, worth keeping a close eye on the forecast. For the North Island, we start off with a fair amount of wet weather across us, feeding through particularly towards those eastern parts of Bear Plenty, Wellington, Wairarapa and southern Taranaki, getting some of the heavier falls there. We'll find as we head through the afternoon, the rain turns more showery across Northland and Auckland. Generally a dry day, and it has been over the last recent ones for you up in the north, but it will be windy. Those southwesterly winds are wrapping through, giving you a fairly windy story through Auckland. But not quite as windy as we'll find it down in Wellington. We have those heavy, strong wind warnings there for Wellington through in towards Thursday. Also those coastal parts of Wairarapa, well worth keeping an eye on those. It will be a windy, wet, cold feeling story down in the south there. Top temperatures in Wellington, 14 degrees. But add in the wind chill factor from those strong winds, it's not going to be a fun outdoor day. And you can see we'll find our nighttime temperatures cooler than they have been in the recent days as well, thanks to that change in wind direction. We've lost those warm, muggy, humid northerlies. We're back into colder southerlies. Down on the South Island, well, it starts off wet. across those eastern areas. Everywhere from, say, Timaru northwards, we've got those heavy rain warnings in place there. But this northern area of particular concern, north of Amberley, with that rain lasting through the daytime on Thursday. You can see even through the day, we'll keep hold of those snowfall over the higher parts of the Canterbury High Country. Some patchy rain makes its way across towards the western side of the Southland, but more likely to be more cloud and perhaps some of those stronger gusty winds down the valleys. Even in places like Southland and Otago, although it's generally a drier story through here, we'll keep hold of a fair amount of cloud. Some of the best weather on the South Island, down towards the fjords, which might get the best of some sunshine, but I think generally it's a fairly unsettled story, particularly with that risk of really heavy rainfall across the likes of North Canterbury, lasting through towards Thursday, so a really prolonged period of wet weather. That cold air, though, also making its presence felt. Top temperatures in Christchurch, what's that, 11 degrees Celsius? Far cry from what we were seeing last week, but I think we are going to find it feels much colder again with the cloud, the wet, windy weather. It's not a great looking story, and temperatures in inland areas back down towards freezing as we head through the night time into Friday. So now we are looking at things slowly improving across the South Island on Friday. This low pressure system, though, still close by, still driving that wet weather in towards parts of the Wairarapa for Friday. And I think we'll find those showers in towards parts of Horowhenua and Manawatu. But winds will be strongest around that Wairarapa coast, easing off for Wellington. But we are going to find it slowly improves through the daytime on Friday. Further north, some clearer skies across those northern coasts of Northland, Auckland, the Bay of Plenty, but I think we will find that cold air creeping up towards you as well. The other thing to watch out for, these strong southerly winds making some pretty rough conditions around the coastal areas of Wairarapa, Wellington, Kaikoura, and just making things a bit more tricky through there as well. So well worth keeping up to date with the forecasts as we head through the next few days, particularly those severe weather watches and warnings. And you can find all of that information over at metservice.com.